Hey everybody, you're tuned into Kana's Corner, the only place on 91.8 Fan where we have live guests with us all the time. And right now we have with us Kyle Johnson, the founder and pretty much owner of cosplay.com. Thank you for coming to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And now we were actually talking a little bit backstage about it. We were talking about the cosplayers we had on, and you were telling us how you sort of got involved with cosplay.com and how you sort of thought of the idea and got into cosplay. Could you elaborate on that for our listeners?
Well, back in 2002, I was running some web communities, mostly for the RPG side of things. We had a role-playing game company back in Chicago, and at the time, I was dating someone who was a cosplayer, and we were going to a lot of conventions together, mostly Anime Central and Fanime, stuff like that. And I wanted to do something where I could include myself a little bit with her hobby. So I found the people that were sitting on the domain name for cosplay.com, and I made them an offer for it and bought it, and then we just kind of went from there, and it turned into what it is.
I'm sure it would be a lot more expensive today than it would be back in the day.
Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah.
And now, was there ever a notion that you wanted to make this site that pretty much interacted with the whole community, or was it just going to sort of showcase what you and that girl did?
Well, first I wanted to do something where I could go to conventions and take some photos and post them online, but we had the idea to put together a community that everybody could come to. Obviously, with having cosplay.com as the domain name, it was a very good central location for any interaction between cosplayers. So we threw a forum up onto the site and just went to see, where it would go from there, and it turned into something a lot bigger than anticipated.
And the site you said originally started in the early 2000s.
Yeah, May of 2002.
And that sort of was just around the anime boom, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's been really cool to see over the last 8 years how much it's increased in the U.S. and it's been a good thing to be a part of that as it's been growing. We see as the anime industry grows in the United States, we grow alongside it, and cosplay grows alongside it. So we do definitely feel a part of it.
And now, very recently, I might be getting ahead of myself, your site was down and there have been some updates to it. Could you explain what those were?
Last weekend, we decided to do a server upgrade, and because we've been running on the same servers for about 3 years now, I think. And just the increase in traffic that's been coming to the site has been causing the front end of the site to really bog down for a lot of users. It's been like that for a couple of months and just gradually getting worse and worse. We've been working on a brand new version of the site for about 6 months now, and we figured that taking the site down and doing a major upgrade to the servers was better now in the development process than waiting until after all of that was finished. So we did that over the weekend. It took about a day longer than we anticipated it to do, but pretty happy with the results. It's a lot faster now and everything.
Yeah, that's the way most upgrades happen. It's just like, oh, it'll be done. No, maybe not.
Yeah.
And it must be such a hard task to try and, take this massive sort of community and then be like, okay, we're going to change this and this and this to make it run smoother and better. How are we going to go from that?
Yeah, it's anything with that large of a community, you're going to affect a lot of people when you take a site down for even a short period of time. I figured it was better to just do it all at once and get it over with, and do it over a weekend where actually over the weekends the traffic's a little lower. And so, yeah, we just did it then.
Well, that's cool that you guys got it out of the way. Is there an estimated time as to when the newer layout will be out?
I really don't know at this point. We keep saying a date and then pushing it back a couple weeks, and we've done that over and over. But the back end of it is almost completely upgraded, and we're just running it on some test servers right now. Um, I would say probably our ETA is around a month. Um, we're hoping for a month, but as these things go, we come up with little issues and errors as we go along that we have to fix, and um, so that's why we decided to just stop the development side of it and work on the upgrade of the servers first, and just continue from that.
Now, is there any sneak peeks or anything like that you can tell us about?
Well, we're gonna put some screenshots up probably at the end of next week of a couple of the smaller additions that are going in, but we've done a complete redesign of the navigation of the site and a lot of the templates that power things like the photo galleries and the profiles. We're adding a lot of features for the profiles that give more interaction between the users. The photos, the entire uploading system is completely revamped and changed into a new format, so you can upload multiple photos at once rather than having to do just one photo at a time, entering all the info and stuff. So it's a lot more user friendly, and really looks like a completely different site. Yet when you're browsing through things like the galleries and the photos, it still feels very familiar, in that it's easy to go from photo to photo, and you don't have to learn a new system for that. But we're also combining most of um, the account options and the control panel options into a better system, so that you're not clicking on links from 3 different places to do the same thing. It's all in one very standardized format, and I think everybody's going to like it a lot more.
So there was some definite cleanup in comparison to the layout that there is now.
It's a complete cleanup. It makes it a lot better. Yeah.
Now, how long have you guys had the current layout? Because I remember it being up there for quite a while, but I might be.
We switched it in, I think it was February of 2007. It's been up there for 2 years, but with a lot of features that we want to add to it, we've added a few things over the last couple of years, and it always winds up breaking more stuff than helping it. And so the new layout is such a complete rework that a lot of the databases are streamlined, so that we can start with a better wireframe, so to speak, and just worry about the design beyond that. Um, Plugging in new features is more of a modular based system now than it is actually having to go into the code and just hack some things in there to include anything new that we want to put in.
Well, very cool. We're going to take a very short break here on 91.8 The Fan, but when we come back, we'll find out even more about cosplay.com, so don't miss it. 91.8thefan.com. Have you logged on today?
Who, me? No. No?
iStock's daily news show, video reviews, articles, forums, and an anime directory. Don't get left behind. Log in today. Only on
918thefan.com?
918thefan.com.
All right, 918thefan.com.
Hey everybody, you're tuned back into Kana's Corner, only on 91.8 The Fan, and I still have Kyle Johnson here with me. Sandy hasn't chased him away on the behind the scenes, luckily. And I wanted to ask, it seems that you're more a photographer than a cosplayer?
I don't cosplay at all. No, I just do photography.
Now, was there a reason why you never really attempted to cosplay, or you just found the
Because
camera?
I knew if I did it, I would do it really bad. It's nothing that really interested me from the hobby standpoint. I was always into the photography side of it, so I just kind of picked up with that and kept expanding on it.
Well, that's kind of perfect because it seems like so many anime fans, in my opinion, jump into the cosplay part and they don't really think of the photography right away. It's sort of an
Yeah,
after.
there's a lot of really good photographers in cosplay, and I think that and it's something that we're actually adding to the website is a better way for photographers to have actual photographer profiles rather than having to use the same format that cosplayers use on the site. While the cosplayers make up the vast majority of the member base, there are some photographers who would be better served with having um, a dedicated section to photography only, and we've done that in the past with adding features like the photo shoot section and updating the size of the photos that you can add to the site. But having something where a photographer can have an actual photography profile would be a better solution for that.
Now, I was always curious because I know in the community everyone sort of helps each other, but will that become sort of a feature on cosplay.com, like a section where you'll be able to post up articles and things like that to help each other?
Yeah, that's part of the new update that's coming, is that we have a full article and news section.
I'm psychic.
It's set up for tutorials, for blogging, all kinds of um, things that you can use to not only expand your profile, but also add actual content to the site beyond just adding a costume and adding galleries and adding photos.
I was always curious about that because while I cosplay a little myself, and I basically force my cameraman at the time to, hey, take pictures of me, and that usually doesn't end up to be the wisest idea, or they don't always like the best with that sort of spontaneous thing. So it'd be pretty nice to see tutorials and things like that.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, I think that that's the one major thing that's always been missing from the site. We used to have a news section where we'd have editors from different countries that would submit things like upcoming conventions or cosplay gatherings and stuff. But when we did our redesign back a couple of years ago to what's currently showing up, that wound up getting pushed in the background and then actually removed. Um, and it's something that we've been sorely missing, I think, is adding some sort of um, informative side to the website rather than just having it be a glorified gallery of photos and costumes with some forums that a small number of people go and visit, but really not that many of our users frequent too much.
Now, I believe you and a few other photographers kind of separate and go into different conventions and take pictures and post them up on the site, right?
Yeah, there's, you mean in regards to cosplay.com or just photographers in general?
In cosplay.com. Because
Oh,
I remember we went to Anime Expo. I think it was Eurobeat King who was there. And
yeah.
did that one.
Well, we have photographers who upload larger galleries from different conventions, and we'd like to expand that to include more people. So with the new photographer setup, it gives everybody the ability to mass upload pictures so that they can rather than having to do one at a time. If you have 300 or 400 pictures from one day, you can upload them a lot faster and do it that way. But we've covered conventions since the beginning back in 2002. I kind of stopped around 05 or 06 and just started concentrating on doing photo shoots once in a while and stuff. But since the site is so user based and it's mostly based around user contributions, we want to just keep it that way and allow everybody to kind of make it their own and upload stuff without having to do too much interaction with us from an administrative standpoint.
Right, I understand. And now, so do you go to conventions commonly anymore, or are you more focused on the site?
The last couple of years I've been convention wise I've been more focused on international conventions because we've been expanding our international reach. I've gone to where I used to go to 10 to 12 conventions in the U.S. every year. Now it's down to maybe 2 or 3. Usually hit like Anime Expo. I'll choose one, other convention I've never been to. I think this year we're going to be hitting Kawaii Con, and there's another convention later in the year. I can't remember, but as far as myself, no, I go to conventions now and I do a few photo shoots, and because I'm not really doing a lot of the hall photography anymore, I'm concentrating more on the business side of things and meetings and stuff like that. The less fun stuff, but it's more for the site
Oh
than
no,
anything else.
I completely understand. When we went to Anime Expo in '09, it was our first time there as press.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I just, there was so much running around back and forth like chickens without heads, and, we have to get all of our interviews and whatnot. So I can understand the not fun part of social or networking pretty much.
Yeah, that's where it starts to feel more like a job than fun. But, we do so much with photo work and stuff with individual cosplayers that there's always that time to just kind of remember that it's supposed to be a fun hobby and worry about the business side of things in a completely different standpoint.
Right, I understand. And do you have any upcoming or future things that you want our listeners to know about in terms of the site or conventions or anything like that?
Well, at this point, it's just mostly waiting for the main update to happen. I think everyone's going to be really happy with it when they see it. We've been very stagnant site-wise for the last few years, and updates have done more harm than good. So, just something from complete bottom up redesign-wise is, I think, going to be refreshing, not just for the site, but also for the cosplay community. And we're really happy to be able to do that.
Now, you said outright that you were going internationally to places. That must be a very lucky, interesting experience.
Yeah, it gets a little tiring sometimes, especially when you're spending a lot of time in hotels and on trains and stuff, and going from place to place. But I can definitely say that it's been a very good experience. Yeah, it's nothing that I can say that I don't like, but it's something that we're not concentrating on as much this year because we've done so much of it for the last couple of years.
Now, do you have any problems when you visit other, conventions outside of the U.S. with language barriers or anything like that?
Not really. Most of the conventions that we go to either have someone who helps with the translations, especially for things like panels or interviews. But we found that a very large percentage of cosplayers in other countries at least speak enough English that it's easy enough to interact with them. Also, a lot of the countries we go to, we have friends there and stuff that will come along with us and help with translation and stuff.
Well, that's pretty cool. That means that you're not all lost and alone in some weird country somewhere.
Yeah, otherwise it would have been pretty difficult.
Have you ever seen a significant difference between conventions outside of the U.S. in comparison to around the world?
Well, there's one main difference in that most conventions in other countries are not based around having a hotel block well, in the United States, it's mostly popular to go and stay at the convention, and it's more of like an all weekend 24/7 thing. In other countries, most of the conventions, when they end at 6 p.m. or 8 p.m., everyone just goes home. It's more of a local community going to the conventions than an entire country. Well, from a cosplayer standpoint, you'll have the major conventions where cosplayers in the United States will go to all of the big conventions, or at least they'll pick 1 or or two that they always want to go to and can't miss. In the other countries, you see the cosplayer base drawn more from the local area, and it's especially true when it comes to the other attendees of the conventions. So that's probably the main difference that you see.
That's actually really quite interesting. I mean, I've always kind of thought that, in a sense, one of the biggest draws to conventions in the US is they kind of carbon copied Star Trek and trade show convention, which isn't a bad thing. But, you know, it's interesting to hear about the differences. Now, I'm being poked by the people in our IRC asking how to stalk you. Not in a literal.
Really don't know. I really don't know.
And more in a Facebook, Twitter, and MySpace sense.
Oh, well, we have a Twitter at twitter.com/cosplaycom without the dot. Facebook, we also have a cosplay.com page on there, and those are the two things that Ginny updates every day with things like our latest showcases and stuff. MySpace, we don't have anything for.
I think MySpace is kind of fell off the planet, so I'll stop asking about that. Are there any other social networking sites you guys post on? YouTube, anything else?
No, not really. We have a YouTube account that we've thrown a few videos up onto, but we haven't done much with it beyond that. We might do something more with video this year, but it's, we have so many other projects to concentrate on that we've just kind of put that on the back burner for a while.
Well, we will make sure to keep track of those projects. And before I let you go, I'm going to ask if you would like to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Sure.
We know you're not a trained voice actor or anything, but we ask everybody who comes on the show if they do a bump for us.
Okay.
And, you might need a pen and a paper, or I can type it to you, but we were wondering if you could say, "Hello, my name is, I do this, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan."
Okay.
So whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name is Kyle Johnson. I'm the webmaster of cosplay.com, and you are tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Yes, very good. First try and everything. We've had so many people come on and butcher it. That's why we do it live, so people can laugh at you. And we do thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's been great.
No problem, and we'll make sure to have this interview up later, so stay tuned to 91.8 Fan. Everything you want to hear and nothing you don't.